Good morning, you guys. Thank you so much for watching my fourth and final video for this class. I can't believe it's almost over. I don't want to make this a super long video because I know you guys have a ton to do this week. So I just wanted to hit a few points really quickly. First of all, I really just wanted to say thank you guys again so much for your engagement with this course. It's been really exciting to see how much you've grown as writers over the course of the semester, and it's always fun just to see like what students are interested in and what they choose for their research topics. So thank you all, as always, again for all of your hard work, and I've just been really lucky to be your professor this short summer semester. Um, Second, I wanted to address like a couple of things that I feel like students always have questions about for the final portfolio that are a little bit more technical. And then I want to talk a little bit more about revision and reflection at the end of a semester. The little technical things, first of all, you need to make sure that you have a a topic specific title for each of your projects that you include in the final portfolio. When I say topic specific, all I mean by that is not saying annotated bibliography, but instead NHL and college athletics, right? You need to make sure that your title is something about your topic, not just the name of the project itself. Second of all, you only need to include your final your final reflection for your final portfolio. You don't need to include all three of your other reflections that you've done through the three projects in this semester. You only need to include that final one and make sure that you just read through the assignment instructions carefully to make sure that you're answering all of the questions for that final reflection. I will say, if I were you, I would look at your other three reflections because there's likely things that you can repurpose and reutilize in that final reflection, but make sure that you're only including one in your final portfolio. The last thing is, I am not, as a professor, especially in an online course, ever going to be somebody who's super punitive about taking away points for technical formatting based things, but just make sure that, especially for your final portfolio, that you are doing all the stuff that it says on the project description. So 12-point font, Times New Roman, double spaced, only include one space between paragraphs. You don't need like three big spaces between paragraphs. Make sure that you have page numbers. Make sure that your name is on it. Make sure that your works cited pages are formatted in MLA format. So just make sure all that little stuff is there, mostly because that's something that's really important for you guys to learn and apply in an English course, is exactly how to put things in the proper formatting and not to, make the margins super big or to include a bunch of spaces between paragraphs. Um, that's the kind of thing where it's like, oh, and I'm also sorry if my voice is cracking. I'm a little bit under the weather, so apologies for that. But that's the kind of thing that you can learn in English and implement in your other courses. So just make sure you're following those guidelines set forth in the final portfolio description. And then lastly, I just wanted to say a quick thing about revision and reflection in the final portfolio. Reminder that revision is not only just like looking at all the feedback I've left you guys and then implementing that feedback and then being on your merry way. Of course, that's a way to do revision, but I really want you guys, as you're reading through those three projects, just to think about, why did I make the choices I made in the first place? And would I make those same choices again in my revision? When I end up grading papers, usually there ends up being a sort of like common theme throughout the paper, and that's like that big comment I'll leave at the end. So that would be the main thing I would focus on, but also make sure that you're getting those like little more like inline comments that I leave. Those usually have to do more about formatting, or if like one sentence is confusing, or if there's like a phrase that's confusing. So make sure you're paying attention to both, but also that you're including your own ideas of like what you wanted to revise, what you wanted to do different for your final portfolio. The last thing is, if you're somebody who has not submitted any of the major projects, you need to reach out to me this week and let me know what your plan is for the final portfolio. Um, Turning in those three projects, as I mentioned in the midterm report, is a big part of making sure that you have a great grade in this class. But it is possible for you to make up some of your grade by turning in a good final portfolio. So if you're one of those people that hasn't turned in all three of your major projects, please reach out to me this week and we can discuss a plan. I wanted to keep this video short, so that's it. But thank you guys, as always, for your hard work throughout this semester. I'll be posting more announcements throughout the week, but thank you guys so much. Let me know if you have any questions at all.